Hi, everyone. Welcome to our live stream and thank you for tuning in. My name is Daniel and I am from the community team at LottieFiles. We are super excited today to be sharing about advanced interactivity with Lottie. Joining us today is Naail Rahman, Senior Engineer at LottieFiles, and Matthias Basaglia, R&D Engineer at LottieFiles. We hope you are ready for what's to come. And I believe we have lots of folks tuning in from across the globe. So please do give yourself a shout out on the live chat and tell us where you're tuning in from. Say hi. For those joining our live stream for the first time, let me start by giving you a quick intro to LottieFiles. LottieFiles is a platform for testing, collaborating, and discovering animations for a community of designers and developers. The platform offers a variety of tools and features that aim to make discovery, creation, and implementation of Lottie animations easier and more efficient. There are plenty of ways you can make full use of a Lottie. So use cases of which you can use them in your app, your website, create Telegram stickers, add them to your games, AR, VR, or even use them in your presentations like we're doing today. There are over 130,000 companies that uses LottieFiles to ship their animation, and some of them include TikTok, Google, Airbnb, and Disney. How many of these companies on screen can you spot? Our team runs various events across the globe covering topics for developers, designers, and marketers. So do check out our community page or simply search for the hashtag #LottieCommunity on any of our social media channels to find and connect with our fellow organizers and evangelists. And lastly, before we begin our session, please enjoy this short introduction video about LottieFiles.
I've got a big fat drum, big fat drum. I've got a big fat drum, pounding so bad. I've got a big fat drum, big fat drum. I've got a big fat, big. Listen. Yeah. Clap. You ready? Let's go.
Now, let's welcome our speakers on stage for this session. Naail Rahman, Senior Engineer at LottieFiles, and Matthias Basaglia, R&D Engineer at LottieFiles. Welcome, Naail and Matthias.
Hi, Dan.
Hi.
Thank you.
Hi, lads. Now, would you like to introduce yourself to the viewers? Naail, would you like to start first?
Yeah, hello, everyone. My name's Naail. I work at LottieFiles in R&D with Matt. So I mostly work, R&D, research and development, right? So we try to find ways to enhance the format, see what we can do, see if we can push the boundaries a little bit, give you tools to, so you can make your Lottie experience a little bit better.
Yeah, I'm Matt. I also work in R&D at LottieFiles. So basically what Naail said. I've also done some open source contribution to Lottie.
All right, awesome. Here's to a great session ahead. Naail, I believe you're going first. Take it away.
All righty. Thank you. Thank you for the introduction, Dan. So, right. So as Dan introduced, said in the opening, Lottie and LottieFiles are a fantastic platform for interactive and animations across mobile, web, wherever. So at LottieFiles, we want you to do more fun and exciting things with the format. So what we've done is gone ahead and documented the format for you and compiled this lovely little guide over here. It's called The Human's Guide to the Lottie Format. You can find it at lottiefiles.github.io/lottiedocs, right? So what we're going to do is run you through it a little bit, because you're going to need some of the information that's on here in order to dive into some of the techniques that we're going to look at, so that you can make the Lottie animations that you post on your websites, apps, and so on a little bit more interactive for the user and like fun, right? So when you first enter here, so you got like the Human's Guide to Lottie. We run you through some of the basic concepts, introduce you to the documentation, as well as give you some jumping off points down here where you can find more information, especially stuff like the community schema, as well as the documentation schema, which you'll find links to over here, right? So let's quickly jump over to the bouncy ball example that we have over here, which introduces you to the concept of Lottie, right? The basic introductory concepts, right? So how that's structured. So for example, if you scroll down, you can see the top level animation object in a Lottie, the JSON structure for that, right? So you have the name, the width, the frame rate, height, and then you have like layers. So this is the compiled example. You can actually go over here. You have some links over here. There's an explain link, which we'll get to in a bit. You can also open it in editor, download it, view it as well. So if you scroll down, we have explainers for all the various values and stuff that you'll find in a Lottie, and then we'll dive in, we'll break it down, we'll show you with what each of these do. So you have like how the transforms work, how the animation is defined in that. So basically, just to give you a rough understanding of, well, not rough, it's pretty in-depth actually. So yeah, so you can have like this in your mind, right? Basically. So don't worry if this seems like a little bit more technical and geared towards developers rather than designers, but you can skip through those parts, not a problem. But at least go through the overview, so you'll have a rough understanding of what can be accomplished, right? So to go a little bit more in depth here, I'll hand it off to Matt, who will show you some other parts of the documentation and run you through it.
Yeah, so we have a proper reference section, which shows you everything that you can find in a Lottie JSON. For example, this is a page about shapes that lists all of the shapes. And for everything, you also have interactive examples. For instance, here you have the rectangle. This is one of the basic shapes in Lottie, and you can change all of the values and see how it affects the output. You can also click on all of the examples, show JSON, that shows exactly how this shape is represented in the Lottie itself. If you want a more in-depth explanation, you can also click on the explain. This opens this page, which is really useful if you're developing tools for Lottie and you want to understand what everything does in a file. You can just upload here and you get previews of everything and an explanation of every field that you can find in the Lottie with links to the documentation. You can, of course, also upload your own files. Now I'll paste an animation I got from LottieFiles. So to show that it's not just the examples in the docs, you can load any animation you want. You can also, as I said, see previews for all the layers. So this is just part of the animation, and you can see what this shape does. You can see also the preview of transform, and pretty much everything that you can think of, you will see a preview of it. So yeah, anytime you have a Lottie that you need to see how it works, this is the page for it. We also have some other tools to play around with Lottie, and now we'll show them to you now.
Oh yeah, all right. Thanks, Matt, for running us through it. So we have a nice little playground area over here where you can see the JSON editor, and which is a work in progress. We'll update that soon. The explain that Matt just explained. And then we also have this tool called the Builder, which is it's like a scratch board basically, which is aimed at helping you sort of like visually lay out and see where everything fits. So if you want to like get some docs on how that works, you can go over to Lottie from scratch over here, where we've explained how you can set that up and then sort of run through it, right? So what you can do is essentially you can either build something, you can drag various properties and stuff and then see what happens with that, or you can load an animation and see how that structure is laid out in sort of like a visual way. This isn't meant to be a development tool. It's more as a jumping off point for you to sort of get an understanding of how the structure in a Lottie is laid out. So like Matt said, you have like a whole bunch of documentation points where you can get information about it. And this is where we want to essentially be, right? The examples on advanced interactions down here. We've documented it all for you. We're going to show you some stuff over here, right? Before you get to that, you can also see some other stuff over here. We have some tips for rendering if you want to learn how Lottie is actually rendered on screen. So some of the nuances of that. So in case something breaks and you're wondering why, there might be some information here for you, right? All right. Okay, now we can get to the fun part, right? Advanced interactions, right? All right, over to you, Matt.
Yeah, so this page explains various techniques to add more in-depth interactivity with your Lotties. Mostly they are based on expressions. Expressions basically are small scripts inside a Lottie. Here we have an example where the star is not animated with keyframe, which is what you usually have in a Lottie, but you have this small script that basically changes the rotation based on time. This is a very simple use case of expressions, but this page goes in more details about more advanced stuff. For example, we can look at this example. This is a Lottie, and when you click, the position of the star changes. The way it does is there is a little bit of code outside the Lottie that basically handles the click event and also does some math to find the position inside the Lottie. And then the Lottie itself has a little bit of code that reacts to that event and then updates the value of the position of that layer. You can also do other more advanced things still. Near the end, you can see more complete examples. For instance, this is a button that is entirely done in a Lottie that you can interact with, you can click, you can get values out of. And this is completely done inside the Lottie without the need of external scripts. There's also basically a 3D support that you can add and also script. This is a very basic example. And you can combine all of the techniques described here to make simple games. Now we'll show an example now.
All right, welcome back. Okay, so yeah, so right, do shoot questions if you have any. Not yet, but yeah, keep them coming. So what you're seeing here basically is the entire frame is a Lottie over here. What we've done is taken some of the techniques that we've described there, like key binding to the keyboard input, and so those events update variables in the Lottie itself, and then the player takes care of the rest of it. So, what you're seeing here is we've implemented a very simple sort of snake game. So what I'm doing right now is actually playing with it in my with my keyboard, and so you can even code in like hit events and yeah, there you go. All right. Oh my god, I'm so terrible at this. Okay, let me try to eat it. Can I eat it? Oh no. Okay, I got it. Yeah. All right. So this is a very simple example, right? So this is a combination of techniques that we've illustrated over there. So if you want to look at it, you can probably see. Oh no. Okay. You can have a look at it in the advanced interaction stuff. So essentially, the scripts over here describe what we are doing. So some of the stuff that we have over there is triggering keyboard events, right? So for example, over here, basic JavaScript stuff. So event key, etc. And then what we are really doing in there is updating variables in the Lottie itself. So this comp refers to the Lottie composition on the page. So once you do that, if the expressions are keyed in to handle it, like you see over here, okay, over there, right? So yeah. So if the expressions are keyed in to handle it, it's going to take over and then render it as expected, right? So you can run through the docs a little bit more. But this isn't like limited to this kind of simple interaction, right? So we have put together an example of just how far you can actually take this, which Matt is going to show you, right? So here we go.
Yeah, so this is a more complete game that is made also entirely inside a single Lottie. It's a very basic game, but it shows that you can do a lot of interesting things using these interactivity techniques. It's a basic game, you just avoid asteroids. You can also die. And yeah, this is done entirely inside one single Lottie. All of the assets are Lottie layers, and all of the interactions is defined inside the Lottie itself. Everything that you can see in this game is explained in the docs. This is basically taking everything explained there and putting it together to make the game. This is the end of the presentation. Now we can take some questions, perhaps.
All right. Thank you, Naail and Mattia. That was a great session. Let's now get to the Q&A portion of the live stream. Please drop your questions for Naail and Mattia in the live chat section. In the meantime, we have a couple of questions from our registrations. So let's get to that first, shall we? All right, let's see. The first question is how to apply these interactions with Webflow and Figma.
Hi. So we actually have some helpful information for you on that on the LottieFiles website. So if you go to LottieFiles.com and then under code, you have something called the Interactivity Guide, which will introduce you to one of our tools, the Interactivity Library, which essentially is also the answer to the question posted by Cookie over there in the chat. Yeah. So it'll give you the information there on how to make Lotties respond to scrolls and so on and so forth. Oh, We got the big question, Matt.
We could answer that.
So we do have like a hover example as well. So these are the scrolls. We actually have interactions that you can trigger on like horizontal movement across this. So basically you can follow interactivity create. So this is on LottieFiles.com/interactivity. We've compiled it all for you. True. Yes.
All right. Shall we go to maybe the next question first in our registrations? There we go. Our iOS developers only work on Xcode. They can't implement Lottie into our mobile app. I am a designer. I need help to understand how to get animation and delightful interactions in our apps.
Right.
Anyone?
Yeah. So for mobile, it's actually not that complicated on how to get Lottie on mobile apps. You can do it in Xcode. So if you need the animation and how to create animations and stuff like that, you can visit our website once again, right? But you actually do have a Lottie library, which is very simple to use. You can just drop it into your iOS app, and it's not that difficult, right? So once you have the animation, or you grab one from my asset library, you can go over there for information on how to integrate. We have some tutorials as well. Matt, do you want to take that question from the chat? What's your favorite thing you've found to do with LottieFiles?
Well, mostly I use them for Telegram stickers. We also have other questions in chat. So was a question if you can have a dot animation move on scroll and then have something else animated differently. With the advanced interactions, what you can do is put some things in a precomposition and then change the playback on them. There is some example that shows you how to even break the limits of the Lottie player, so you can just have something playing constantly. Another cheeky question is if it can run Doom, and the answer is yes. If you can share my screen, I can show it.
Oh
boy. Yeah.
So this is awesome.
A Lottie with 3D layers that is running a simple Doom clone. Have monster and stuff. But I'm muted, so it doesn't make too much noise.
The
answer is yes. You can make a kind of basic levels, but you can do pretty much anything you want with Lottie expressions.
Yeah, it can run Doom. Yeah, short answer. So there's another question. Lottie with audio sync. You mentioned you're muted. Yeah, but there is audio in this as well, right?
Yeah. There are audio layers. I think you can animate the volume, so you can have sounds play at certain times and stuff like that.
Yeah, we actually have an example of this under the Advanced Interactivity Guide under level 8 sound effects, which is on my screen now. Dan, if you can switch to that. This example over here, so which shows you how to trigger an audio event basically on this. Trigger warning, it can be loud. Oh, that, right, that works. Yeah. Did you hear it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. That's awesome.
So you can sync audio to Lottie as well. Add audio layer. So, but we should mention the support for this is limited to web at the moment. So the mobile players can't handle these yet. But the audio itself does work. You can embed it in the Lottie itself.
So one of the question is how to export expressions from After Effects. So I think expressions usually are exported by plugins, but what you can also do is export a Lottie and then edit it to add scripts in. That's how I made the games. Basically, I exported Lottie with all the assets and then added scripts to make it do what I want.
Yeah. At the moment, the expression stuff is a little bit involved. So you might have to get in there a little bit. Right.
All right. Awesome.
Yeah.
Is there any other questions that you'd like to answer today?
We did have some from the RSVPs as well, right?
Yeah, I do believe we might have one more, I think. Let me take a check. There we go. That's the one. I want to create custom Lottie animations for our website as a graphic designer. Is this a deal breaker, and should I learn how to do graphic designing to manipulate the images I create from scratch?
So what do you think, Matt?
I think you can go to LottieFiles.com and download Lotties. There are free Lotties that you can download. You can also open the editor and change colors and stuff like that. You can also hire animators. So there are a lot of resources from LottieFiles where you can get animations.
Yeah. We have a marketplace that you can go into if you don't want to get into design, where you can hire animators, but you can also grab the free animations. Yeah, we have an editor that you can jump into, where you can. We also have the color palette now, where you can immediately switch the colors of a Lottie based on the palettes. That's pretty cool. So you can customize it to your brand as well. So we have a bunch of tools here that you can use if you don't want to directly get into animation design.
That's
all right.
Awesome.
There's also a question about file size in the chat. So if you're using the After Effects plugins, you have some options to disable some things that are not used. Also, sometimes I've seen Lotties that have images embedded in them. Of course, that will increase file size. There are also some tools to reduce the file size. So there are a lot of different ways that can help optimizing a Lottie.
Yeah. We do have some tools in the pipeline that are coming your way to help you sort of optimize and shrink the Lottie files automatically for you as well. So stay tuned for that. I don't know if you know this already, but you can zip up a Lottie files as well in a standard zip file as well. We also have something called .lottie. If you go to LottieFiles.com, our GitHub pages, you'll find more information there. So which is basically github.com/LottieFiles. We have a number of tools under .lottie, which is a work in progress, but it helps you. There you go. Right? Yeah. Which will help you reduce the file size of the exported Lottie, and then use those reduced files in your either mobile or web.
All right. Thanks so much for answering those questions. Let's see, are there any more questions you'd like to answer? If not, we can wrap up today's session. Oh, there is. Hang on, look at that. All right. It says, I want to create custom Lottie animations for our website. As a graphic designer, is this, wait, that's the same one that we got earlier on. Oh, no.
Yeah, it was.
We could answer it again.
Someone in chat asked if there's native support for 3D models. Currently, the answer is no. Basically, how 3D works in a Lottie, you have the usual 2D layers that can have a 3D transform. So basically, everything looks a bit flat. The reason why Doom works is that it's already kind of blocky in the way that 3D is done. Hopefully, in the future, we will have some tools to better 3D support, but not at the moment.
All right. I believe that's almost all the questions that we have for today, isn't it? It looks, yeah. All right, and that brings us to the end of the Q&A segment for today. And I'd like to thank Naail and Mattia again for doing this live stream with us. But before the two of you go, do you have any final words or piece of advice that you'd like to share with everyone? Maybe Naail, you can start first again.
Yeah, essentially, the Lottie and LottieFiles supported by all of you. So if you have questions, queries, issues, or suggestions, please do drop by to our GitHub as well. File issues, or hit us up on any of our community channels, and we will respond.
Awesome. Matt, do you have any final pieces of advice you'd like to share?
Yeah, as you've seen on the presentation today, if you want to learn how exactly what Lottie works, the docs is a very good place to start, so you can see how everything works inside a Lottie.
All right. Thank you so much once again, Naail and Mattia. And now we will be having the two of you off stage. And before you go, dear viewers, do stay connected with us via our social channels. You can follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, the works, and even chat with us on Discord. Hope to see you all there. Lastly, and importantly, we value your feedback. Feel free to scan this particular QR code and go to the link lottie.link/community to give your feedback for today's live stream. If you're interested in joining our network of Lottie organizers across the globe and running events like this one today, fill up the same feedback form with the indication that you're interested in becoming a Lottie community organizer, and we will be in touch. Lastly, one lucky winner will be chosen at random for some cool LottieFiles swag. So get your feedbacks in. And lastly, I am Daniel, and on behalf of the LottieFiles team, thank you for joining us. See you all at the next live stream. Bye-bye.